Welcome back to Cinema Cult. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And this starts the beginning of our, what are we calling this?
Halfway to Halloween.
No, I guess it'd be halfway to October Scarefest.
Yeah, that's the true name, I think. Yeah,
that's the true name.
That's the catchier name, I think.
It's what people will remember. Yeah.
Halfway to Scarefest. Actually, me and Chris talked about Halloween-H20. We talked about how the title...
Wait, are we talking about it on the episode, though? Today's the episode for
Halloween. But I'm bringing
Matt wants to talk about the ending of the movie real quick.
Okay.
Can we talk about the ending?
Like old time's sake.
Talking about how catchy the title is.
That was an event.
Yeah. That this movie was called H2O, and Chris's opinion was that it's stupid because it's water, because it's H2O.
Yeah.
And we talked about how like the reason why you remember it is because it's stupid.
Yeah.
Because it's dumb, so it catches your like attention, and you remember it for like, oh yeah, Halloween H2O. Like, Can you guys tell me what the title for Halloween 4 and 5 are?
The Revenge and Return of Michael Myers.
Is it? I thought it was Curse of Michael Myers.
Curse is 6. Yeah.
Is it 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I heard they called it H2O.
Prove me wrong.
They called it H2O since they had such a thin plot.
Yeah.
such a watered down plot.
It's actually pretty good. Yeah. That's a very accurate one sentence summary, I think.
I'm sure someone used it. They had to have. But
so long story
you heard
short,
it here first.
Halfway to Scarefest.
Yeah.
October Scarefest.
We are starting this off. We got quite a few picks to do this month. We are starting this off with Halloween H2O from 1998. The 7th in the Halloween series. I feel like we kind of want to go through all the Halloween movies, maybe.
Mm-hmm. We've done 1, 2, and then 2018, but I don't want to cover the rest of this franchise.
Did we really? We did. Hold on, we did 2.
We did 1, 2. It was like one of the first Dark House on the Hill. We did a 1-2 combo.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Well, I would say like
I do. I remember it.
Oh, okay.
Good job.
We're good. We're good, guys. I remembered it.
You know what's surprisingly entertaining, and I'm not saying it's good whatsoever, is we just went through the series back maybe a year ago. We watched Resurrection. Mm-hmm. While it's not a good movie, man, that is insanely entertaining. And I mean in the sense of like Jason X.
Yeah, and see like previous episode Jason X, I did not have a good time with that one.
I enjoy it. I don't love it. I remember
the podcast. I'll never forget. Yeah.
All right. So H2O, we've all seen this. I've seen this multiple times.
I've seen this more than I probably should have.
Yeah.
I've probably seen this like maybe like 4 or 5 times in my life.
I've seen it a few times.
Okay. So that means we might kind of like it if everybody's seen it over.
Let's get through the episode. Times. Let's get through the episode and see how much fun we have.
Okay. All right. So let's start us off. 1998 H2O. What does it have on Rotten Tomatoes? Honto, I'll start off with you.
40.
Matt?
30.
52%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like probably within the franchise, it's probably the third best if you exclude 3 because it's like not really a Michael Myers movie.
Okay.
I'd feel like it's probably 1, 2, 3, right? Or 1, 2 H2O. It's like the.
Well, if you include the new one.
What did you just say?
Sorry, it's confusing because Season of the Witch is not an entry in this franchise.
Yeah,
you always skip over it because it's like not a Michael Myers movie. But I feel like if someone were to rank like the best Halloween movies, like I guess at the time of H2O, it would probably be 1, 2 H2O.
At the time, yes, 100%. Yeah,
I
will agree with that.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Sorry, it's a little confusing, just like this franchise.
No, you were like saying like all the right things. It was.
I know it's super confusing.
What are you talking about?
All right, H2O's budget. Honto, what do you think it was?
12 million.
Matt?
15 million.
17.
Oh wow.
So I can see that. I mean, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. They probably had to give her a few bucks to get her back.
They definitely cut the budget on the mask, so they saved a lot of money there.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I got both pieces. We'll talk about the mask later on in the episode, but Let's talk about budget really quick with this movie, because this is related to the budget. You just talked about how much they had to pay Jamie Lee Curtis to come back for this movie. John Carpenter is missing from this movie. And John Carpenter was originally approached to come back for the movies,
man.
And like
better movie.
but he wanted $10 million to do it.
That seems doable.
No, it doesn't. Well, okay, I'm going to say two
Budget's
things.
17.
One, that's insane. 10 million is, especially when your budget's 17. But let's look at where John Carpenter is in his career at this point.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man? Vampires, I think.
Yeah, he just got done doing vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I cannot see.
Understandable.
That's okay.
Well, but honestly, I get it, because his reasoning for it was he wanted $10 million, not just to do the movie, but for just back payments on all the money, all the residuals that he's owed for the Halloween series.
Okay.
Because Mustafa Akkad, who's the producer up until Resurrection, I think his last one is. Right? Because he doesn't touch he doesn't do the Rob Zombie one. Oh, does he do the zombies?
I don't think he does. No.
Yeah.
They had a feud because he was getting all the residuals, and John Carpenter got nothing. So John Carpenter basically was like, hey, I just want money that's owed to me from this entire series that has made you guys bank. And he also wanted a 3-picture deal, and they both kind of argued with him about it, and he backed out. He's like, no, I'm good.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think he would have had more leeway if it would have been 80s John Carpenter.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But
yeah.
So fun trivia. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I disagree. I don't think he would have had more of a ground to stand on in the 80s.
Why?
I think because if you looking at Carpenter's career, he's always had these kind of incidences with all of his movies. I mean, you just look at if you read the history on all these movies, it's it's hard for him to get them made, and then they're not appreciated when they come out, and that's why force. It was at one point it was he worked his way up as an independent, made Halloween, and was at the top of his career, and it just kept kind of going down because not to say his movies were bad, it's just for some reason it was harder to get funding. It was he does The Thing, and The Thing is an awesome movie.
The concepts are they're all cult classics today. They're not really and they're kind of genre movies, They're not really fan favorites or I guess pop movies or whatever,
Yeah, they weren't well received on initially coming out, and it's across his entire, almost his entire. I think Escape from New York was decently well received, but he does The Thing, and it's a failure.
Yeah.
And then he's got to go do Starman for a studio. I think he does it for Universal.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the mix. There's a story there, but
right.
So I don't think he would have had the ground to stand on. I don't think he was.
I'm just saying. Long story short. I feel the 80s would have been better for him than the 90s.
Yeah.
Just because.
Look at the movies that came out in the 90s. They're all.
And I don't think he wanted to be a part of Halloween, really, because there's that story we talked about when we covered Halloween 2 about the only way he got through Halloween 2 was a case of beer when he was writing a screenplay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he did it in a night or whatever, a week, and he just didn't want to be a part of it. So I think his $10 million mark is if you guys don't take this, if you guys take it, sweet. If you don't, I'm good. I don't really need to do this.
Yeah. So good riddance. So $17 million budget. How much did it make at the box office? We do not have worldwide since there's no international numbers.
Okay.
So this is domestic only. Hanto, I'll start off with you.
50 million.
Okay. Matt.
I'm gonna go with close to Hanto's. I'm gonna do a 60 though. I'm gonna go above his. 60 mil.
55. So that goes to Hanto.
It's so close.
So if you do inflation from $1998, I'm sure that's got to be close to 100 mil.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a hit.
I don't know. Do you really know that math, or are you just pulling it out of your ass?
I'm sure for judging for inflation, I'll tell you what, Hanto, take us to the cast and crew. I'm going to look up the inflation numbers.
Okay. Surprisingly enough, I didn't realize this movie was directed by Steve Miner, who did Warlock, which I want to cover with the podcast sometime. He did probably best known for Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. He did House, and then like as he got towards the end of the 80s and the 90s, he did the incredibly offensive and problematic Soul Man starring C. Thomas Howell. And then he also did Forever Young, My Father the Hero, Lake Placid, I guess going back to horror in the 90s, and then Texas Rangers with James Van Der Beek.
Do not know that one.
I do, because like the poster, it's like the traditional poster where they're standing foreground to background. I think you got like Usher Raymond, James Van Der Beek. It's like a bunch of like teen.
We've talked about this.
Teen stars or whatever.
Okay.
I've never heard of this. Go ahead.
I was gonna cut you off. I got the inflation number really.
Oh,
it came up like that.
Okay.
Did you like a conversion like thing or?
There was actually an article on the inflation. It was talking about H2O, so it popped up right away. 108 million.
That's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. That's
wow. Dude, you're really close. That's crazy, man.
What a box office hit.
No bullshit. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you know what's crazy? We were watching that Blockbuster documentary, and they don't talk about this in the Blockbuster documentary. That one on Netflix. I don't know if you guys checked it out.
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay.
But do you remember how much rentals used to be back in the day?
They were pretty expensive for new releases.
Yeah,
I think it was
right?
I think it was like $3 for old movies and like $5 or $6 for new releases, like the 2-day releases.
I always thought it was $3.99 for new releases.
Maybe. I remember it being expensive though.
Regardless, like that's pretty expensive. Like because I'm only bringing this up because you talk about inflation.
Yeah.
And that's 20 years ago when this movie came out.
So now with inflation, that's like 105 or 108 million dollars.
Yeah.
No, like if you're doing that right, then that inflation, you doubled it, right? So it would have been like an $8 rental.
Probably.
Like back in the day. Because you look at it now, and it's like you go to Redbox and you can rent a movie for like $1 or like $2 for the night. You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, no wonder why like Blockbuster ate itself. I know they point to like Netflix and that, and streaming killed it, but I really feel like I don't know. Then why do like Redboxes do so damn well? You know,
no physical upkeep of a store. They don't have to pay electric and all that stuff. You know, employees, they don't have to pay employees.
Well, I was gonna say on top of that, like the demand for films back then, that's the only place you could get them.
Yeah.
So you paid those prices. Now movies are everywhere, and everybody's got a VCR. So since they have that,
do you think that? Like, let me ask you then. Do you think it would ever come back?
No.
Like in some form or fashion?
No.
Nope.
No.
Netflix and streaming services are way too ahead at this point to even like I think harken in a return of physical media in stores, basically.
What if, I know we're still not talking about Halloween, but what if, in a freak scenario, all the studios start buying all their movies back, and now all of a sudden there's like too many streaming channels?
There already are.
And people are like, there already are, but the streaming channels get more and more, they get tighter and tighter, and not everybody's buying into that anymore. And then all of a sudden, like, people want a one-stop place to go rent movies. Do you think it could come back in that kind of aspect?
Too expensive. Too expensive.
All the movies got erased. And
if they got divvied out to like all the studios, and now all of a sudden, instead of like, right now I've got about 12 streaming channels on my Roku. All right. So what if it gets to a ridiculous amount of like 50 different streaming channels, and you're like, I need to watch this movie, but it's on this particular streaming channel, which we are kind of going down this route.
It is already there.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, freak scenario, everyone buys it back. The public gets annoyed with this. And it's like, you know what? I just want to watch this movie. I don't want to have to pay $10 for this app.
Right.
Like, could you see like a physical rental medium coming back?
I don't, because you could still rent it online. You know, like instead of getting the app, you could probably rent it. And at that point, even if they're charging $10 for a rental, I don't know.
Also,
so you're saying,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Hanto. I asked a question. I want to hear your response.
I was just gonna say, as long as Amazon is operating as a business, there's always going to be a $2 rental there.
Yeah.
You can always do it from the comfort of your own home. And just the concept of like having to produce or mass produce physical media, way too expensive. They're not going to do it like ever.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
I'm not like arguing with you. I think like,
Sure.
it's dead as a doornail, but I could see something like that where like a Blockbuster app or something like that. And then all of a sudden, because Amazon rents these movies out, but they don't own any of them. So at any point, people can just pull them and say like, you know what? We don't want you to rent this out for $2. We want it on our streaming channel. So what if Blockbuster did that? And they're like the Redbox app. The Redbox app is sort of that way, but it's a kind of more of a narrow.
I feel like
list.
I feel like in the Blockbuster like business model, within I wouldn't just say within the last 10 years, they tried to do a streaming service and it did not work at all.
Yeah.
I feel like they did, and like it was like a last ditch effort. Like when the stores started closing, it was like a last ditch effort for them to try to like make up ground for the ones that they lost over the Netflix, battle basically. And they just couldn't keep up, and they had to shut down like immediately. That's why there's only like that last Blockbuster. Where is the last Blockbuster? Is it in Alaska or is it in Oregon or something?
It's Oregon.
I think it's Oregon. Yeah.
Okay, so there were two at one point. One was in Alaska, Oregon. The Alaska one.
They talk about that in that documentary.
Okay.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I think that's the thing too. If there was a movie and you're like, hey, only available on this app, I think honestly, most people would be like, all right, I'll just find another movie to watch. Like it doesn't mean that much to me. I mean,
yeah.
It'll stream at some point. They'll forget about it, and then when they see it again on the streaming service that's free finally, and they'll be like, okay,
Yeah, directed by Steve Miner. Full circle.
H2O.
H2O.
$8.
Yeah.
$108 million. Starring Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, previous episodes, Halloween 1 and 2, and are now playing on 2018 Halloween. She's also in The Fog, Terror Train, Prom Night. We also have Josh Hartnett as not 17-year-old John. This dude is like, I think he's already 25 at this point. He's like, I'm 17, Mom. Like, I should be able to go on.
I wonder how old he actually was in this movie.
I think I looked it up. He may have been 20 or 21, but he definitely is not 17.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, I think, hot off the press in The Faculty. And then I think shortly after he did, I think like Lucky Number 11 and 30 Days of Night. I feel like his career didn't really go anywhere.
He stepped back. I remember reading an article about it. He just didn't want to do it anymore.
He's in a I just watched a trailer for a new Jason Statham movie, and I think he's in that movie.
Oh, okay.
It's like a new action movie or whatever.
Well, I know he made a comeback when he did
Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, that was like his return back to acting.
Yeah.
I don't know the full story, but yeah, he stepped away for quite a few years.
Yeah.
I watched that.
I watched
the first
season, I think. Yeah. It was a little too chaotic, I think, for me.
Yeah.
It didn't really go anywhere. You got Michelle Williams from Dawson's Creek, the entire series. Surprisingly, she started doing basically making a killing in the acting scene. Nominated for several Oscars, Manchester by the Sea, Blue Valentine, Brokeback Mountain. I think there's another movie. I can't remember what it was though, but she got nominated for a fourth movie. Then we have Jodi Lynn O'Keefe, previous episode, She's All That, and I think a season of 24. And then we have the other friend, Charlie, played by Adam Hann-Byrd. Did you guys recognize what this movie is
Matt
from?
tried to tell me, and I said, save it for the podcast. I have no idea what this is.
So I was like dead set. I was like, oh, cool. That guy from Cabin in the Woods is in this movie. Looked him up. Nope. He plays young Robin Williams from Jumanji.
Yep. Man, that's good. Yeah, 100%. Wow.
I have not. I didn't notice it until this watch.
Yeah. It's a visual gag for YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not. Wow, that's bizarre.
It's crazy. Yeah, because they look similar, like the dude from Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
and then,
I totally see that.
But when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, it definitely is that dude. Like,
yeah. Oh, he also has got quite a similar look to Topher Grace.
A little bit.
No, not that 70s show hair that he's got.
Oh yeah, that little like 70s haircut he's got going on, little butt cut.
Keep going. I'm done. I tried.
A butt cut, man.
LL
I
Cool
heard
J.
that one in forever.
LL Cool J as Ronnie, the security guard. Totally wasted this movie.
Oh, that was fun in this.
He was all right. I feel like
him in this.
I feel like he should have done more, but like they kind of write him out of the last like epic part of the movie. Doesn't do anything. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
He was in Into Deep, Any Given Sunday, Deep Blue Sea, SWAT.
Mindhunters.
I was about to say, I think at some point we should cover it. We talked about it several times in the past, but Mindhunters, which is a Rennie Harlin movie.
It's an odd movie.
It's a very, very weird movie.
It's very entertaining.
It's
I had to think about it.
It's like what is it? The Agatha Christie, and then There Were None, where they kind of like it's like a murder mystery, but each character kind of gets picked off one by one. I guess it's like like a thriller horror movie. I guess would it be considered?
I would say
a horror
so.
Movie?
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know what we're talking about.
It's like Val Kilmer, Christian Slater, LL Cool J.
Yeah, and dude from Hackers, Johnny Lee Miller.
Oh, he's in
like,
that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's like the main character or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like, I feel like he's a rich boy now because he's making so much money, probably off of several seasons of NCIS LA.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That show's been on for like 15 years now, and he's still making it, which is crazy.
Yeah. Ladies love
Cool J.
CSI.
Dude, and he doesn't look like he aged a day.
He's aged very well.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's aged at all. So
it's great.
Like,
he's great. Yeah.
I can imagine it being like a time travel thing where you go 10 years into the future and you're like, man, this show's still going on. Like, or you think it's like a rerun? You're like, no, this is a brand new episode.
Yeah.
Like Chris McDonald's like super aged next to him. Like,
he's like old. Oh, come on, LL Cool J. Have you ever seen that Old Spice commercial with LL Cool J? Where it's like,
I feel like I have.
It's like before and after Old Spice, basically. It's like him talking, or it's like
I think I remember this.
Him as like a scrawny kind of geeky kid, and it's like going up to talk to a girl. She's like, "Hey, LL Cool J." He's like, "Ooh," and then just like kind of runs away. And then he like steps in. He's like, "That was me before Old Spice." And he's like talking about basically it's like an ad before and after Old Spice.
I do remember this. Yeah,
it's very, very funny. Got Janet Leigh, Norma, Psycho, The Fog, original Angels in the Outfield, Manchurian Candidate, Touch of Evil. Then we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Angels in the Outfield, the new the remake.
Man, he couldn't even get it out.
I know. Third Rock from the Sun, 10 Things I Hate About You, Inception, Dark Knight Rises, and 500 Days of Summer. He kind of disappeared, I think. I haven't seen him in anything recently.
Yeah.
I follow him on Facebook, and he's really big on that. I don't know if you pronounce it, Hit Records. But he's all about like creating art. Like it's really cool to follow him.
I remember he was on, I can't remember what channel it was on. It was on a cable channel and he was doing his show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it was like a video creating kind of like what you're saying, but he had a TV show based on it.
Okay.
And it was just like basically like independent like filmmakers and video makers, and he was trying to get them all together. And
is it kind of like a project? Is it kind of like a Project Greenlight with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon? Is that kind of like
no, because it wasn't like one big project. It was just kind of like what Chris is saying. Like he's going around and just getting creators together to make stuff.
That's cool. That's
really
cool.
I can't for life of me remember the damn show though.
We'll find out shortly. But it's pretty much all I have right now.
There's a few Joseph Gordon-Levitt's buddy in it.
Yeah, he's Can't Hardly Wait, right?
Yeah, he's one of the dudes that hangs out with Seth Green.
Yeah.
And I thought he was in She's All That.
A lot of people are in She's All That.
If you're a teenager, you're in She's All That.
Dude, right. I feel like everybody was in this era was in She's All That. Like, at least in the background, maybe.
That's true. I feel like there was a couple other names in there. Actually, there's not. There's really nobody else in this movie.
Not really.
And
then the original actress from the first Halloween.
Yeah.
The nurse. Yeah.
And then
Question
good.
Nancy Jane Stevens.
Who is the guy that she dates in this? I feel like I've seen him in stuff, but
I forgot to bring him up. It's Adam Arkin. He's
okay.
Here and there and stuff. I feel like he's a big TV guy, like Chicago Hope. And then he was on Sons of Anarchy. I remember him Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
And then he popped up, I think, a couple times on Monk.
Okay.
Monk.
It's weird. I don't know why I remember this.
Is that your Ted Levine accent impression?
Yeah, Chris, what do you got to say?
say candy cane. Get it over with.
Candy cane.
Nice.
That movie we should cover on the podcast. But go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris. What do you want to say? You're really
$108 million.
It's gonna blow your mind.
All right, inflation. What? Go ahead.
When this came out, that guy was on The Daily Show, and Jon Stewart interviewed him about H2O, and he's like, "Why don't we go ahead and cut to a clip of the movie?" And it was the scene where Jamie Lee Curtis is like sitting on his lap, and she's telling him like who she actually is and everything.
Yeah.
And like in the clip, like he pulls her shirt down and he kind of kisses above her boob. And I remember it freeze framed on that, and it cut to Jon Stewart, and he was like, "What is that?" And like he was making fun of him, like interviewing him. It was really funny. But
that's awesome.
That's what I had to tell you.
Cool.
It's pretty good trivia.
Matt, tell us more about Blockbuster.
Hey, I think it was a solid question to ask.
I think I had solid trivia.
It was, yeah. And I did solid on the cast and crew. I think, especially.
I think you did as well.
A niche market for people who want to go rent stuff again, and it's just like you collect VHS tapes. Hell, all three of us collect vinyl. Like, it's a niche market, but you know who's saying it? Like, if a video store opened up down the street, trust me, I would probably be there a lot.
Oh, I would too, for sure.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into Halloween H2O.
We'll be done in 5 minutes. It's pretty straightforward.
All right, so Halloween H2O starts off. I think this is an awesome opening to this movie.
I think it's a pretty good cold open.
Yeah, I totally dig this because you followed the past 3 movies, and it's been Jamie, which has been Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter, like in the original series. But we're forgetting all that happened, which I will say this movie does a very good job at. I don't know. Okay, so I guess we're going into the movie, but I have a question at the same time.
Okay.
Do you think if you weren't a Halloween fan, you would be able to watch this and know that this was erasing the previous 3 movies or 4 movies or whatever?
So if you're if you go into this as like the first movie or whatever, or
no, I'm just saying, say you've watched them all up to this point and you haven't read anything online that this is starting over. Like, would you be able to pick up that this was starting over?
I guess.
Okay, Matt,
you heard it here.
No, because we got to say this for the audience. So this movie eliminates 3, 4, and 5 and 6. So this movie acts as if just 1 and 2 exist, and this is a sequel to 2. So I think, you would know, or you don't have to know that going into this movie, because all that stuff that happens in 4, 5, and 6 happens in like Haddonfield, and it's characters that aren't within the circle of Jamie Lee Curtis, because they say that Jamie Lee Curtis is dead.
Oh, they do.
In like 4, I think, or 5.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Because that's when Jamie finds out. That's when they say she's dead in 4 and 5. This is going to get so confusing.
No, they actually say it in this one too.
Yeah, and then in this one, they say that she faked her death. So that kind of matches up. So you don't really have to know that in this universe that 3, 4, 5, and 6 don't exist. But there was a scene at one point in Jamie Lee Curtis's classroom where a student goes by basically she does a book report on this book called The Haddonfield Murders, and and that was their way of segueing all of the 4, 5, and 6 storyline into this, and they were going to say like, her daughter Jamie and stuff like that, and at the end of the scene, Jamie Lee Curtis was going to run out of the room and like puke in a bathroom, because like just hearing about it and everything.
Gotcha.
Because it's her daughter. Her daughter eventually dies, right?
Because I think in Halloween,
they cut it.
Halloween 6, the family that moves into the house, the is it the Myers house? Because that's all Strodes. They're all Strodes, I think.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be related.
So they're trying to like continue like the Strode family lineage or whatever.
Yeah.
And whatever.
So I mean, I don't know. I feel like watching this, I only knew that it erased the previous ones because I had read it online. Like I didn't walk into it, and I didn't put it together as I watched the movie. I
guess until the 2018 version came out, the 2018 Halloween.
Yeah,
where they started talking about all the different like ways to watch Halloween. You can watch 1, 2, H2O, or you can watch 1, 2018, or 4, 5, 6, or whatever. I didn't realize, I guess, that this was like erasing or potentially erasing 4, 5, and 6 in a way.
I didn't know this either until like recently.
That's what I mean. Like recently, I mean like when the 2018 came out, like that recent for me.
Yeah.
But it's just so odd that you could sit there and be like, hey, look, we know no one's seen these movies. Let's just pretend like it didn't happen. Like that's such a bold move. Like you couldn't do that with, I don't know, you couldn't do that with Fast and the Furious. You couldn't just like, you know what I mean? Like people would be like, hold on, like where did this character come from? What happened to him? You know?
Yeah. And that's when it gets weird with like the James Bond movies.
Very weird.
Because it's kind of the same thing where it's like you're getting new James Bonds coming in. And then every once in a while, like when a new James Bond comes in, like everybody that is like the older cast members treat that James Bond like he's a brand new James Bond.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like confusing because you're like, then they act like they know him too.
Yeah.
So it's real weird. It's like they do this like the introduction, but they act like they've known him for years. And
it gets like especially weird with that continuity when they have Judi Dench as the Pierce Brosnan M. And then it's like Daniel Craig's first outing as Bond. He gets his first 00 or his first 2 kills to get the 007. Now she's in like that as M. And it's like, I don't understand what's going on with this franchise anymore.
It is so stupid that they don't do that. Like we've talked about this, but the code name, because that makes so much sense.
It's cool as hell. I wish they would do it, but it's not the case.
Yeah, they screwed it up with
Spectre.
No, not Spectre. Skyfall.
Oh yeah,
they screwed up with Skyfall. But go ahead, Chris. So this opening scene in H2O
opens up H2O. Yes. So
we are guys. We're talking about H2O. Surprise!
2-hour episode
for an 80-minute movie.
I know.
So H2O opens up with basically it's the nurse from the original that worked with Loomis, kind of. And her house gets broken into, so she goes across the street or over and gets the neighbors to help him out, which is Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his buddy. And this whole scene of Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his buddy like going through the house and like stealing beer and like kind of trashing the place. The dialogue flows really well in this. The jokes hit, and I think this is mainly due to Kevin Williamson writing.
I was about to say it's probably Kevin Williamson.
Yeah, who doesn't have a credit, by the way, as a writer on this.
He's uncredited, and they use a clip from Scream 2, I think.
Yeah,
Scream 2 later on.
He wrote a good chunk of it, but like he doesn't get any of the credit for it because there's like a WGA rule where you have to write 33.3% of a script in order to be a name on the actual screenplay, and he didn't. So they listed him as executive producer.
Okay.
But you can tell when it's him, like this opening scene,
the very snappy dialogue, and
dude, even the scene a lot. I was gonna say even the scene with what's the teacher that works with Jamie Lee Curtis. I can't think of his role in this movie.
The counselor.
Counselor.
He's a counselor. Yeah. Even when he goes into the dorm room of the 2 girls. And they make the jokes about, we're going to get our nipples pierced, or that's what he says and all that. Like, that's very Kevin Williamson, like, very quirky dialogue. And
I just imagine a teacher walking by, or Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's the headmistress of the school. Like, I need to talk to you. And then just ends up firing the guy.
Nipples?
You're fired. Nipples? Pierced nipples? Are you kidding me?
Well, is he? He's not Michelle Williams' dad.
I don't
Dude,
think so.
I have watched this movie 13 times probably, and this is the first time I watched it and realized that he's neither of their fathers. Like I always thought he was one of the fathers.
Yeah.
Once I watched it, I was like, he's totally not.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
just some
yeah.
dude.
He's just there. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But I want to talk about this opening scene because
I don't, because I know what you're going to talk about.
What?
So I watched this with
I'm
Matt.
not talking about that. I'm not going to talk about it. We're going to stay on topic.
So I want to know now.
Yeah,
This
we
is
rewound this
stupid.
movie like 13 times because so on the porch
No, we
of one
didn't.
of the kids,
Once.
on the porch of one of the kids is the Butterball from Hellraiser with the glasses.
Yeah.
One of the Cenobites.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to him, and then it cuts to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's got a Jason mask that he pulls up. And Matt goes, He's like, I wonder if there's a Freddy Krueger in here somewhere. We rewound this movie so many times.
Once. We rewound it one
That's
time.
a lie. That is such a lie.
No, because I was like, oh, I wonder if
So
there's like, it's a Halloween movie. So there's, Michael Myers, Hellraiser, Jason. And I was like, okay, what if there's like a Nightmare on Elm Street, like little thing thrown in here?
Mm-hmm.
And
so we just kept rewinding it over and over and over.
There wasn't. But anyways, the opening scene. I really like this idea of her going into the house and it's daytime, and it's like I wished it would have stuck with the daytime and not had the transition into night.
Yeah, when the other friend is hanging out with her, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt is walking around, it's daytime, and then when he leaves, it's like 4 hours later, nighttime.
Yeah, he comes out, it's like pitch black.
Yeah, it's like what?
But not even as a continuity thing. I really like this like daytime thing.
The daytime just attacking the day. That's what made the best part of the first Halloween is when you see Michael Myers hide around the corner. Daytime. He's just out there in daytime. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I like the idea that it's like, especially in horror movies, like Midsommar does this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a horror movie that's in broad daylight.
Yeah.
I really like that, where it's like, you know what, we're going to be scary during the daytime. The monsters don't always have to come at night.
Exactly.
I
like that a lot. I like that concept a lot.
So her house gets broken into. The kids look through it. They find nothing. She goes into her house alone, gets scared, runs next door to the kids to ask them for help, and she finds out they're dead. I remember even like as a kid, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt with like the ice skate.
Yeah.
It was
that really
intense.
got me as a kid. Yeah, that's very intense.
Yeah.
So the cops end up showing up to her house while she's in this other house. And this would be a cool scene. Like she like breaks through the window to yell to the cops that like, he's over here.
Yeah.
And as she does it, she gets killed. But it's very like, it's insane. I felt like they spent all the money on the ice skate kill.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to this, like it looks like one of those just like pumping the blood through the
Yeah.
But it's still like effective regardless. And then it cuts like the cops and are looking through her house, and then it kind of gives us like the history on Michael Myers. This is kind of like it puts you back up to speed, I guess. Hanto,
no, I was just gonna say it's like a ton of just sound clips. They're just like literally going through every movie sound clip.
Well, I actually told Matt, I don't know where I read this. That's none of that is Donald Pleasance. It's all recorded. Yeah, it was like a voice imitator.
They should have had. They should have had the imitator say, "Lonnie, get your ass away from that."
As the title comes up.
Yeah, H2O.
He's like doing he's doing the recording for this. He's like, I also do other impersonations. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. We're even trying. Lonnie, get your ass over here.
Man.
Yeah, why don't you just stick to the Donald Pleasance?
Yeah. You sure?
I have more lines. I can say.
So after this whole thing, so basically this whole movie takes place on like this private school. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah. Is it like, it's not like a boarding school, right? Or it's a private boarding school. That's what
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And basically just to set the whole entire movie up, Jamie Lee Curtis has a son, Josh Hartnett, who goes to the school, and she's like the head honcho here.
Headmistress, yeah.
And we also have Michelle Williams, and I don't want to like be disrespectful, but two other friends that are basically there not for any character development whatsoever, but just to show their deaths.
Yeah.
And it is Halloween, and this is 20 years after the first one. And Jamie Lee Curtis has not gotten over this whatsoever. So I think it opens up. It's Jamie Lee Curtis having a nightmare about Michael Myers walking through her school.
Yeah.
And we do establish a few things here. I guess like their father's out of the picture. Like Josh Hartnett, and it's kind of like throwaway stuff. Like Josh Hartnett gets a birthday card from their like deadbeat or the deadbeat dad, which is
smoking deadbeat, whatever is,
which is never brought up again. Just don't even put it in there. You don't even need it.
Yeah.
But basically, it's Jamie Lee Curtis dealing with this whole entire day and how much it stresses her out. So meanwhile, while this is stressing her out, this is like the day before some big Yosemite trip that everybody at school is taking.
This is a school trip. Yeah. I think it's like an annual school trip, I think.
Mm-hmm. And basically, this is all set up. I know I'm saying a lot of words right now, but just to set up the plot.
Yeah.
But basically, Josh Hartnett's not allowed to go to Yosemite because Jamie Lee Curtis is just like over worried about everything.
I think it's because it's Halloween, right? She's overprotective of especially Halloween. It's one day of the year you gotta be safe,
Well, and speaking of, so Josh Hartnett sneaks out with his buddy to go get some booze. Which Matt made a very good point right here. They asked LL Cool J, who's the security there, like, hey, can you open up the gate so we can go out and get a gift for my girlfriend? And when the gate closes, you can clearly roll under this gate. This is not.
Can you really?
Yeah. And it's just weird too, because like LL Cool J is like willing to throw away his job for this, like to let a high school kid out, and not any high school kid. But the child of the person who runs the boarding school,
the one who
it's like
the head honcho.
So later on, when Michael Myers pulls up his car and does this whole little dance routine of like
he just rolls underneath the
as like those army men, like just toys,
just in circles, just like because those toys are always defective, dude.
Oh, they absolutely, are. Absolutely.
So Josh Hartnett sneaks out, and while he sneaks out, Jamie Lee Curtis is off campus getting lunch as well. And he kind of showed that like she has a drinking problem at this point. She orders another glass of Chardonnay while she already has one.
I was about to say she's also going to get booze on her.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of a theme that they drop really quickly as far as her being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they drop it and they kind of make it look like she's just drinking a lot because it's Halloween and not because she is like an alcoholic,
like stressed.
You know what I mean?
Stressed out about the situation.
I disagree with that because later on she has that huge glass of vodka that's like,
but it's still Halloween.
Better movie. She's just drunk this entire movie.
That's
just
what Matt said. That's exactly what Matt said.
Trying to survive the encounter. Fucking way better movie.
Dude, I can't imagine that.
Just like running into walls and like
right.
Dude, it's not in enough horror movies because like I feel like there's so many slasher films where all they do is party.
Yeah.
And like, can you imagine just being completely shit faced and like
God, it would
somebody
be a mess.
that like, and you're just trying to outrun them all the time, and you're just like at one point you're like crawling on the ground for like no reason. You're like,
could you imagine that iconic scene where both their faces are up against the glass? Like she was totally like drunk and like her face was like mashed up against it. Or the scene where they're underneath the tables and he's trying to find her. She's like, bleh.
Yeah.
Or
the part where they like leave the boarding school and then she's like, oh, I forgot something. And then she rolls underneath the gate.
And she gets stuck.
Well, like that scene you're talking about, man, she like crushes that vodka and she's like, hold on. Like maybe somebody didn't go to the Yosemite trip and then she just takes out a 38 and like runs out to the open. I was like, dude, she's plastered right now. Like
she's not fit to handle this firearm.
But like I guess originally in the like Jamie Lee Curtis talked about it, but there is like an alcoholism like theme that originally ran in the first so drafts of the screenplay, and they eventually dropped it from the storyline. So that's what I mean. Like the drinking that she does in the movie makes it look like she's just drinking for the day and not because she drinks a lot.
Just drinking.
Which is an interesting storyline that they got rid of.
Would have been awesome.
Well, speaking of all that drinking, I feel like this movie is a very good. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's a very good like canvas for the 2018 remake. Like it's totally trying to do what 2018 did really, really well.
Yeah.
So it's showing that,
like the
Jamie
paranoia. and
like it's just
PTSD
not
of the previous encounter or whatever.
Yeah. So I feel like it just does a really good job at setting this up.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not as good as the 2018, but it's trying, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think the 2018 one has a lot, like it's I know what you mean. It's kind of a similar storyline as far as like survivors PTSD, you know.
They just go more extreme with it, and
which I like better. I feel like it kind of comes off as a little corny in this, where it's like I feel like she's like too okay for
it really just plays off your typical 90s like secret identity. I I'm hiding from my past, and now it's coming back to catch up with me.
Yeah.
AKA like I think Julia Roberts in The Enemy, like the enemy, I can't remember what it's called.
Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yeah, Sleep with the Enemy. They do that. I think there's like they'd always do this though. It's the same. It's like a typical 90s trope where it's like,
you know what I think it comes down to is it's probably studios are like, we don't want it to be too depressing. We don't want it to be too serious. We want people to have fun. So they make it like a little, not lighthearted, but they don't make it as true to its form as it should be.
I think it's a good point.
Like the way the 28, yes.
Man, it is like, that movie's crazy.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
It's crazy.
Do you think 2018 would exist if H2O didn't exist? I personally don't.
They probably would have come up with something a little bit different, but still extreme like it is. But not like not the whole. It would be a little bit different, I think.
No, I think it honestly, two things had to happen. I think Mustafa Akkad needed to be removed from the Halloween movies as a producer, because he was just kind of like, because of this situation, it just kept like rolling out like garbage, not garbage movies, but just not very like good sequels to this series. And the other thing was that like they made so many of them that just didn't hit its mark, that way it opened this gate for like the 2018 to come and be like, all right, we've taken it down this route, we've taken it down this route, we've taken it down this route, and we've done several different sequels trying to branch off of each of them. Let's do something that's way more, let's do something that's a little bit closer to that original movie. So yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I think like with those two things absent, with them with the original producer absent, and them having to go down this like route so many times they failed. Yeah, that the 2018 one is like born from that.
Okay, so you're not saying necessarily this movie, but just in general.
I think in general, I think this one's just like, I mean, we talk about it right after this one is Resurrection. They immediately like started up with H2O, and they make it so anybody can kind of come in and watch them. As long as you saw the first one, you know what's going on. And anybody can come in and watch it, and then they try to branch off again with Resurrection, and then it tanks, and then they started over again with Halloween one with Rob Zombie, and then gets to the second one, and then they stop again, and now they are starting again, and it's just all these like.
But I'm just saying, like this one in general, do you think 2018 could happen without this one? Like, I feel like 2018 is just a more spruced up version of this movie.
No, I don't think it could happen without this one.
Without it. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I think we're kind of getting into like the gist of this movie, because we have like a lot of like setup. We meet Jamie Lee Curtis's assistant, who's Janet Leigh.
Yeah. She's mom.
Which is cool because they show the actual car from Psycho that Janet Leigh drives. And when it cuts to the car, it actually plays the original score from Psycho in the background, which is neat too.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically Jamie Lee Curtis tells Josh Hartnett he can't go on this trip. And then she changes her mind. She's like, you know what? You go ahead. But at this point, Josh Hartnett's already decided to stay back. And him and like his group of 4 friends are going to hang out at the boarding school while everybody else goes, which I think I'd be kind of jacked to go to Yosemite. I mean,
that sounds awesome.
It sounds really
awesome.
Cool. Yeah. And I guess when you're a kid, you don't want to be affiliated with anything that's school related.
Well, you just got this booze, and he got the brand new Creed album. So
I was just gonna say that.
I got Human like, Clay.
So yeah, I can't go to Yosemite. I just spent all my money.
I've got this I got that human clay CD you wanted.
Honto, what would that be in inflation numbers? How much would human clay cost back then?
That's good.
CD, on compact disc?
Probably like 108 million or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah. How much did CDs used to cost?
I think they're like
12, 13 bucks.
Yeah, it was like 12 to 14.
Depending. Yeah.
And they still cost that, right?
No, they're a lot cheaper now.
What are they?
CDs, they're like
Hey, here's a question for you. What was the last CD you guys bought?
Man.
I think mine was I don't know. I feel like I bought something not too long ago. I think it might have been
Did the sun just set over on your camera there, buddy?
The apocalypse is happening.
I know, it was like all of a sudden it got really dark and you're like looking around, you're like
guys.
Sorry,
that's a good question.
I opened Spotify to look up this Creed album, and the window's black, so it it ate up my entire screen. But
sure.
My Own Prison is the album that they got for this.
Yes, which is actually a pretty solid album. I will go on record and say that's a pretty good album. So I'll go on record and say it's a good record.
This guy creeds.
This guy creeds.
That first album.
This guy right here creeds.
I can't remember the last CD I bought, which is weird because it sounds like I'm like, I don't buy CDs and I spend a bunch of money on vinyls.
Honestly, I think the last CD I bought was like maybe at like a live show at like a local band, you know.
Honestly, I can tell you the last CD I bought. Now that I'm thinking about it, the last CD I bought was TV on the Radio, and it was Seeds.
Cool.
That was the last CD I bought before like Spotify and stuff popped up.
Did they officially break up?
No, they just haven't done anything in a while.
That's unfortunate.
But it's been like but it was like $15 when I bought it. So Chris, you can't remember your last CD?
I don't know. I remember me and Matt went Christmas shopping with the other brother a couple years ago. And I think I don't know. This might have been.
Oh, this is already stupid.
I know. And I think for $5, like up front, they had Limp Bizkit's Significant Other.
Yeah. And
I think this was right before Spotify or right after. I can't remember.
Okay.
But for $5, I picked up Significant Other, and that was our Christmas shopping album.
Okay. Do you guys listen to it?
Yeah.
Or is it still
we did.
open?
It was
we had to.
Was it pretty bad or?
Okay, here's the thing. I was talking to Matt today, and we were talking about music that, like, I used to be really into, like, the alternative early 2000s, like 3 Days Grace, Stain, Creed, and all that stuff.
New metal, like
I guess some of it is, yeah. But like, I listen to it now, and I can't listen to it. Like, it just doesn't do anything for me.
It does not resonate.
It was there for me at the time when I needed it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not saying like, oh, this music's garbage.
Yeah,
it's just not my thing anymore.
There's different tastes. The taste evolved over time.
Yeah,
you know, like 20 years later, you're into different things now.
Different things.
Yeah.
There's a saying where it's one day will be the last day you hold your kid, and you won't even realize it. And it's like,
is that kid Limp Bizkit?
No, it's like it's you. Like basically, it's you holding your child like for the last time, and then they grow up, and you don't hold them anymore, right?
Okay.
And you don't know when that last day is going to happen. And then the other saying is, one day you're going to buy your last CD and you won't know it.
Is that last CD Limp Bizkit?
Matt, that last CD was Limp Bizkit.
So, man, I have no. Okay, so Michael Myers ends up. Okay, hold on. Let's talk.
Oh, we're talking about Michael Myers. Okay, yeah. I forgot.
Oh, okay.
I had like 10 thoughts in my head. So
I love like the fact the caliber of this movie. We've gone on different tangents.
This shows that like this episode is going to be like 3 hours.
If anybody gives this movie an A or a B, I'm gonna like. I probably won't do anything to you.
What are you gonna do? Do something. Do it right now.
I feel like we're talking about the movie, but we're not like. There's like nothing to say about it. We're like,
I'm more interested into our Limp Bizkit CD talk than I am with this movie.
Because the last like 30, 40 minutes of this movie is nothing but cat and mouse bullshit. And I hate this stuff.
But I will say right now,
it's boring to watch.
Before we get to the cat and mouse stuff, this very scene I'm about to talk about is an influence on 2018 Halloween. There's a scene where a little girl and her mother go use this restroom. That's
dude.
side off restroom.
Yeah.
This scene has to be like a template for
2018 wouldn't have existed without this one scene right here.
With this one scene. But no, like it reminded me of it. As soon as it popped up, I was like, oh man, this is so similar. So this mother takes her daughter to use the restroom, and Michael Myers comes in, steals the purse, and steals her car. Mm-hmm. And it didn't even dawn on me, but Matt was like, what kind of car is this woman driving?
It's called a 1956 International Harvester Travelall.
Dude, I just set you up for that. That was perfect.
Yeah, I had to look it up because I was like, what the hell car is this?
Well, because the only reason she drives that is so it looks creepy when Michael drives it around.
Okay.
And I know, and that's why it's stupid.
Well, because they couldn't have like Michael driving around in a Ford Focus. That's not creepy, you know?
Yeah, but you know what though? You know what? He drives around in a like the car in the first movie.
He has something like a pickup truck.
What is
right?
that? No, what's the car he drives in the first movie?
Like a Cadillac type thing?
No, what?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, it's not a Cadillac.
No, it's not a Cadillac. God.
I don't know. But like, anyways, what I'm saying is this: the car he drives in the first movie is not scary, and what makes it creepy is that it's like a legit car that you would just normally see. I think it makes it less creepy when it is a creepy car. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a Ford station wagon.
His original,
the one that he's goes around.
I said station wagon. You said
you didn't say station. No, you didn't. You said what?
Is it Statham? Is that Jason Statham put together?
Statham. Yeah, it's a Statham wagon.
So Michael ends up driving the car up to the gate and just
abandons it.
Yeah, and LL Cool J plays this like cat and mouse game with them until Michael just like sneaks in.
Well, at this point, he didn't realize he had already rolled underneath the gate to get past LL Cool J. So he was already gone when he was looking for him.
Right, it's a complete waste of time. I will say I really enjoy LL Cool J's novel writing. That whole thing is fun.
Yeah, I do like that character.
It's a cool trope.
Trait.
It's a cool trope, but they do absolutely nothing. Like they should have had him like fist fighting Michael Myers at some point in this movie. It would have been incredible.
What do you mean? Okay, so you say that would have been awesome. Go watch the one after this when Busta Rhymes ninja kicks Michael Myers.
Terrible.
No, how is that okay?
Terrible. He's kicking. I want to see fist punching.
Okay,
punch to the noggin. Not
dude,
like,
I would not
be trick or treat, mother effer, and then jump kicking them.
That's a sound clip.
Yeah. It was like, try not to drop that F-bomb.
That's what I said, mother effer.
So at this point, Michael Myers is in the school, and it is for the next 35 minutes roughly.
It's a whole lot of what's that noise? You know?
Oh, dude, Josh Hartnett does it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just stop and like stare at something for like 10 minutes.
Parentheses, leaves rustling. Oh, there's a whole lot of clatter.
Oh yeah, I believe it. So the four kids are like bunked up and they're legit listening to Creed, having snacks, and Michael just kind of takes them off one by one. He ends up killing the
guy first,
the Topher Grace looking guy. Which this whole scene, and I feel like I hate when they do stuff where they set it up for the audience.
Yeah,
because he drops like the corkscrew into the
this is
what
stupid.
I'm looking for. Yeah,
the
garbage disposal.
Garbage disposal.
Garbage disposal. Thank you, Matt. That was tough for me and Hanzo. And
I was gonna say, I don't even
Josh
know.
Hartnett, where's the corkscrew?
But just to show you what it is, he like turns it on a couple of times, and he has like this whole moment. You don't need any of this. This is purely just for the audience. Like in real life,
is it going to be violent? Is it going to be a graphic scene here or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, and like,
happens. And so they set up this whole thing, and then this is where you get CGI Michael Myers mask.
Oh yeah, I forgot to keep an eye out.
It cuts to it for like a second, but yeah, it's like entirely like a drawn-on face, and it's so only crazy for this scene. We pause it; it's bizarre looking.
Yeah, so I'll bring this up right now. Okay, let's talk about all the masks that are in this movie. There are 4 different masks
that were made
for this movie. Yeah.
The one
of them.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick, the one he's looking at the Jamie Lee Curtis through the window, it looks like he's got like some Oakley like sunglasses on.
Yeah.
They're just like really
So
the eye is shapes.
It changes throughout the movie, and his head, the shape of his head changes too, and his hair changes. I guess halfway through the movie, they decided to go with a different mask. So originally, K and B,
odd.
They had the K and B mask, which I think the K and B mask is from 4 or 5.
Okay.
It looks very similar to a 4 and 5 mask at times.
Yes. There's the K and B mask, and then there's a Stan Winston mask, and that's the mask they switched to.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a mask in the beginning of the movie. I got it all written down, but it's super convoluted.
It's madness.
Yeah, no, I've got it right off IMDb. There's a huge paragraph of it. But there's a different mask in the beginning, and then there's another mask that they try to enhance with CGI, and it's in the shot for like a second, and it's clear as day. It's terrible looking.
It looks crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it was so hard to just be like,
just get it right. Get it right.
Just use the same damn mask.
Yeah.
Why are you guys running around just making masks? Why are you changing it up?
Spend time and just make the mask legit and go on with your movie.
I don't get it. Yeah. So that was actually really interesting, legit. So this guy ends up getting. You're welcome.
No enthusiasm whatsoever in that sentence.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, super interested.
So this guy ends up getting killed. They don't show it, but later on, when his girlfriend finds him, he's in the is it a dumbwaiter?
Dumbwaiter, yeah.
And this whole scene is kind of bizarre because she goes up in the dumbwaiter, and as Michael chases her, and for some reason Michael looks up the hallway of the dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand why he's looking up to watch her. It's totally forced to get a cool shot of looking down on Michael.
Right.
And I hate stuff like that because that's stuff that's made for the audience. This isn't a movie. This is a haunted house for people watching.
Well, I think because what happens is she's in the dumbwaiter, and then he cuts the rope and it falls down. And I guess it's
but I'm just saying, as it's up, he's watching it, and it's just I don't know, it's goofy.
Yeah.
He cuts the rope right when it's under him. He's
it's the angle in Home Alone. Better movie if they started doing Home Alone tricks in this movie.
But they do this whole thing where she gets to the top, tries to crawl out of the dumbwaiter.
But he's already at the top. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. What do you mean?
She escapes. He cuts the rope, and she's crawling out of the thing or whatever, and he's already up there.
It's one floor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's really just kill her. It didn't matter. There's no tension because he's already up there.
I guess it would have mattered. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess the whole point was he was trying to get her to come down, and when he realized she wasn't down there, then he went up to. But I get what you're saying.
But honestly, this was my complaint with it from the beginning was that if Michael Myers is after Jamie Lee Curtis, why the hell is he killing everybody else?
I guess he's just crazy, dude.
People have been asking that for the past 6 movies.
Yeah, but for as far as 2 goes, is the same way. It makes sense when he's in the first one, he's kind of killing all these people around Jamie Lee Curtis to in a way torturing her.
Well, because he's in the first one, if I recall.
There you go. Keep going.
Nobody heard that at all. Nobody heard that. There we go.
Allergy season, man. You don't have to do a 3, 2, 1. Everybody gets it.
Whatever. Okay. So if I recall in the first one, it's almost like he targets the girls because they're all talking shit to him in the car. They give him the finger or whatever, and he stops, and then he just kind of drives on. So it's almost like they talk shit to him. So therefore he's gonna kill them basically.
Yeah, and 2's just a body count movie.
He's
just killing everybody, and it's just kind of
in that abandoned hospital that Jamie Lee Curtis is the only patient in.
Right.
Hey, careful what you say. We all like that movie.
I was gonna finish.
Go back to the old podcast.
Not a bad movie.
Know. It's okay. It's okay.
It's
I like it. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I enjoy it.
But same with this one, it's his goal was to get to Jamie Lee Curtis, but he's messing around with these 2 people. It's or these 4 people.
Yeah,
wasting his time.
And it's
let's talk about all the work he puts into this, because he cuts the dumbwaiter, which breaks her ankle, but somehow she's able to pull it out. But if it broke her ankle and it was that heavy, I don't think she would be able just to pull her ankle out.
Yeah.
Whatever. But so she gets out. Michael goes upstairs, kills her, and then later on, he like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but he like sets her up where like the light bulb's in her, like she's hanging from this like light bulb or this Does it? No, you guys are just staring at me, man.
Pictionary. Keep two words.
No. Later on, Michelle Williams and Josh Hartnett find her, and she's hanging from this like
light bulb,
electrical from a light bulb.
It's a light bulb with a it's literally a light bulb.
A light bulb.
Yeah,
but is it
I have one in that closet right there.
Oh, okay.
Honto, can we get a visual on this?
You want me to do it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, dude. Just for the YouTube audience.
For anybody who's interested. Oh, like the movie. Oh, okay.
Like the movie.
Light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honto had a body hanging in there too. It was like
I just opened it. Michael Myers is in there.
Where did you buy that movie prop from? That's really cool.
I bought it for this podcast episode because I knew we were going to talk about the light bulb extensively.
About H2O. Well, yeah.
You know what though? It is one of those things. It's another cliche slasher thing where they find the dead bodies. I hate that.
Well, they do it so well. They do it so well in the first movie where she's going around the house and they are all like falling strategically.
Yeah.
That's one and done. Don't do it ever again.
There's another one in this movie in the beginning when the nurse is running next door and she finds Joseph Gordon-Levitt dead with the ice skate in his face. And then she runs to the back door and the other friend is just like leaning against the back door with a knife in his back. So when she opens the door, the body like falls forward. And it's just like,
that's so much work to like set up.
It's so much work.
How many times do you think the body fell as he was like positioning it on the?
Well, I mean, like think about it. Like
it's a stiff.
Yeah, you gotta kill him, right? And then you gotta like lay him out flat. So you gotta like wait for rigor mortis to kick in, so his body will go stiff. And then you can prop him in front of the door, so you know what I mean. So, and then
Michael's probably breathing through his mask. Trying to put the body up, and
then you gotta hope to God that she goes through that door.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Because like, what if she's a window jumper and she just jumps right out the window, and he's like, "Son of a bitch!" Like as soon as she saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt, she just jumps out the window. And or like, what if she backtracks her steps and like goes back to the front door instead of the back door?
Why is there a door?
I think he had 20 years to perfect this technique, and I think he knew exactly what was going on.
Speaking of, why does it take him 20 years to get to Jamie Lee Curtis? Oh, because she changed her name. Okay, so this is probably
internet doesn't exist quite yet, so he was this next scene is when Jamie Lee Curtis is with her boyfriend, and she explains everything. The whole
to
him.
And the reason why he's coming after her now is because I guess because Josh Hartnett turned. Well, no, Josh Hartnett turned 17.
No. The reason that Michael Myers knows where she's at.
Oh, never mind.
It's because she ransacked. He went to the office at the beginning of the nurse. So I don't think it has anything to do with the 17-year-old.
Dude, I like how I just now put that together as I said it out loud, and I was like, oh no, like because she looks at, she's like, because he asked her questions like, oh my god, he's like, how old were you when this all happened to you? 17. And she looks up at the birthday card and she's like, 17, because it's his 17th birthday card. So in my head, I made the connection. I was like, oh, he's coming after Josh Hartnett because he's 17.
Okay.
And then I realized,
little did you know that there was a whole cold open where they focus on him getting the information.
I realize that now that like I was like, oh yeah, like no, he just now got this information. So honestly, Chris, this is kind of stupid. Like, dude,
I hope they should remake the opening scene where he looks at the board with all the information and then zooms in on Michael Myers' face and he's like 17.
Yeah,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
This is stupid because it took him 20 years to do this.
Yeah, he's kind of
slow. It took him 20 years. Okay, here's a question. It took him 20 years to find out where Loomis lived. Because that's the thing. Yeah, it's Loomis's house. The nurse was taking care of Loomis.
Oh, yeah.
So it took him 20 years to find out where Loomis lived, to find out where Jamie Lee Curtis was.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like it's a little too late. We just both asked really two stupid questions. And we're trying to be like, hold on, there's this other stupid thing.
Wait, I know. It's because he's 17.
Yeah.
So he goes
it's
after
17.
Jamie Lee Curtis because Josh Hartnett's the oldest 17-year-old ever.
He's only killing 17-year-olds.
But Jamie Lee Curtis realizes that for some reason that Josh Hartnett didn't go on this trip.
Yeah.
So after downing all this vodka, she grabs her gun and they run to the school. And this is basically just more cat and mouse where they have the awesome scene where I think it's probably one of the best scenes in the movie is when they hide on the other side of the gate, but they're kind of like trapped by the door.
Yeah, this is cool. This is cool.
Yeah, it's
and they can't get the keys. And then it has that awesome iconic shot of Michael looking at Jamie Lee Curtis through that oval window. I remember that was in the trailers.
The mask is, I do remember the trailers. It's just the mask is so terrible.
Yeah, because
in parts
face
it's
to
okay.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And they run throughout the school. Jamie Lee Curtis's boyfriend gets killed very violently.
Dude, this is crazy.
It's a
Halloween
very
2.
disturbing death.
After he after he mistakenly shoots LL Cool J in the head.
That's right. He was clearly dead.
Yeah, he's like, they checked his pulse and everything. He was dead. There's a whole blood pile and everything. And at the end, he's like, thankfully I just got grazed.
Yeah.
Honey, you're not gonna believe this.
Was that you licking the wound right there, Chris? Like,
I was like kissing it like
ketchup packet.
So now it's basically, I guess I get like Josh Hartnett, Michelle Williams kind of hide away. And then we do the whole cat and mouse thing with just Jamie and Michael. And one thing that I remember really big in the trailer was when Michael is like above the rafters.
Oh, he's like,
and he like lowers himself.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Like one, awesome. Good for him. Man.
Great job.
But two, like, how did she not like see him like in your peripheral? Like, at least just see a guy like hiding up there. Yeah, just like
it's the same situation. It's the same situation where he thought she was going to be over there, but she turned one direction.
Right. Damn it. Could you imagine just going there and this guy's like up on the thing? He's like perched like a gargoyle, but you only see his back, and then you like slowly go the opposite way that you came. Like,
I see you.
Go this way.
But they kind of end this whole fight in like, I guess
like the cafeteria or something.
Is the cafeteria?
There's just
I do like
long tables, you know.
Yeah, I do like this because she's like climbing under all these tables and he's just like flinging them away, and it's a pretty good scene.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Pretty much.
I think that it's kind of goofy, and like the way it's shot, it looks really suspenseful. And this is all in the importance of how you shoot something, right?
Yeah.
But it's shot really suspenseful because it's all these tight shots of her under the table and him on top. But if you would have shot that room wide and it was just her like crawling under the tables and him like waiting for her to crawl the next one, to walk over to the next one, and then like, you know what I mean? Like it'd probably be like if it was just like a long 10-minute take of just one angle and like she's crawling to the tables,
and then
remove the
suspenseful music, so it's just like the
just all the sound like
stomping.
I think it'd be it's kind of a goofy scene, but
I agree.
She's trying.
I like it for what the scene is as a whole. I really do enjoy the scene. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, they're doing something because they haven't really done a chase like this. It's usually just like
Sure. And I can't remember how it happens, but they kind of get to like the top of the cafeteria and Michael gets thrown down.
Mm-hmm.
He gets knocked out.
Yeah.
I think this is when the police show up because she goes to kill him.
Yeah.
And then is this where LL Cool J shows up?
Yeah. I think he grabs her basically. It's over.
Yeah. He's like, he's dead. He's over.
Yeah.
Or it's over. And then we cut to like the police and the medics are all outside. And Jamie's like, you know what? I don't think so. Kind of like the LL Cool J song where he's like, I don't think so. And she grabs a gun from a cop, grabs I guess it's not even a medic at this point because Michael's dead, but she grabs the car that he's in, takes off with the
ambulance.
And they end up, it's bizarre because she ends up throwing on the brakes. He flies out, goes down the hill.
Yeah.
She wrecks the car, falls out of the car, and then the car pins him against a tree.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because when he's pinned, he does this like shake thing, but it looks like it was like drawn on. Like if you ever watch this again, it's really odd looking.
I'll have to check it out.
But Jamie Lee Curtis comes over, he reaches out his hand, and then Jamie Lee Curtis cut deuces, and she cuts off his head, and that's the end of the movie. And it should have ended that way, ended the series, because it's a solid ending.
This ending is simultaneously awesome and terrible.
Why terrible? Oh, because what happens with the next
of what happens in literally the next movie. It's the dumbest thing of all time.
It's crazy that they keep making these movies and they keep starting them up, and with the idea of that they're just going to end them and there's going to be no franchise. I think 4 and 5. Well,
that's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's a cliffhanger, and then 5 has a cliffhanger too, and then
it does.
One has a cliffhanger, kind of. Like technically, it has a cliffhanger.
2 has a cliffhanger. No, not really.
2 doesn't. Yeah, 2 doesn't. 2 ends
it's just the mask melting.
So Michael Myers, and he dies like flat out dies in 2, 6, 7 H2O.
Yeah.
8 again in Resurrection, but we find out the 7 death doesn't really count. And then I don't even know if he dies in the zombie movies.
What point are you trying to prove?
I guess it's just like, you would think that like when they would start these things back up, they would be like, hey, we need to kind of do like a looser ending that we can make a sequel for, because this is probably going to make us a lot of money, that we shouldn't do anything where she chops his head off, that we could do something we could branch off into a sequel.
Well, I think that was the whole point, is they did it to be like, all right, there's no more. It's done.
Yeah,
it's almost like they filmed the ending to this movie and screened it for the executive, the studio execs and everything. Like, Steve, you weren't supposed to cut off the head. We have a signed sequel next coming out in 2 years. Like, what are you doing? He's like,
we'll figure something out.
I got an idea.
I got an idea.
My 5-year-old came up with this.
Yeah,
I hate this idea.
It literally is. Like,
for those who haven't seen it, so basically he knocked out. What they say happened is that Michael Myers didn't die. He ended up knocking out a paramedic, broke his vocal cords or his windpipe so he couldn't talk, put the mask on him, switched with the paramedic, and so the head she cuts off is the paramedic at the end. That's why he reaches out, because he couldn't talk because of whatever.
So at one point, another medic or a cop could have walked into the room, and there would have been a naked Michael Myers and a naked medic, and he'd be switching clothes. And it'd be like that scene from Naked Gun when Leslie Nielsen's switching clothes with the opera singer Enrico Palazzo.
Palazzo.
And he's switching clothes with them, and the cop would have been like, "Oh, sorry," and then just walked out. Michael Myers has like his messed up eye and everything like that, because they got the coat hanger in it, and
But they totally ruined this whole ending with the first 15 minutes of the next one. Yeah, and it's a shame. It really is.
But off Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. But it is entertaining to watch.
It's a ballsy move, but it's also the dumbest move.
Did not pay off. Yeah. So Halloween H2O 1998, it has a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. Before we go around, I'll say mine. I would say I'll give it a 65. I enjoy it. I've watched it a lot of times. I think the running time is awesome on it. It pretty much gets to the point. There's not a lot I don't like about it. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but for the movie and the series, this is one of the better ones for sure. So what about you, Hanto?
I'm going to say it probably like 45 to 50% for me.
Okay.
There's not a lot happening in this movie at all. It's really just a straightforward movie.
Yeah.
I had more fun talking about it than I did watching this movie.
Really? Okay. All right. Matt, what about you?
I got 2 scores for this. If this is the first time you watched it, it would probably be about a 65.
That's
in comparison to watching 4, 5, and 6 in a row, this one's kind of a breath of fresh air. Because I recently, like within the past couple years, I watched them all in sequence. Yeah. And after watching 4, 5, and 6, and I was like, these are not very good. These are rough to watch.
Yeah.
This was better because it was like, okay, there's better time scares. There's a better story. It's faster paced. But after having seen this movie like 5 or 6 times, I would probably sit around at like the 45 to 50% range, just because it's just kind of like, I think that 2018 one just crushes a lot of these and makes them look like child's play.
Like what you said, I think like first time viewing was like, wow, that was incredible. this is like 10-year-old me talking.
I didn't say it was incredible.
This movie.
Hold on.
I
never said it was incredible.
No, this is me talking, not you.
Oh, okay.
Let me talk. Let me talk about my childhood.
Okay.
No, when I first saw this, it was like, oh yeah, that's awesome, because this is like my favorite movie franchise, like horror franchise. Because I was more into this than I was like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street growing up.
Same. Yeah.
But I think just like like knowing the ending now with like the headshot, because that was such a surprise part when I first saw this, and then knowing what happens in Resurrection, and then knowing that there's 2018 Halloween, it just really decreases the value of the movie for me.
Dude, yeah, good point. Honestly, I think that weighs on it more than anything, is that you know what happens after this, and then like it kind of goes nowhere. I feel like if this was the latest Halloween movie, I feel like we would all have a pretty high rating for it.
Way higher. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to say 65 is kind of high. I would go with a solid 60, just because I feel like it did a lot for the franchise. It brought it back from where it was.
Mm-hmm.
So what were our final scores? I had 60. Hanso, what do you got?
I think it was like 45.
Matt, what'd you have? 45 as well?
Yeah, something like that. I would say 45. I'm sitting at like a 45 now. I was kind of like bored watching this, but I think I've seen it too many times.
And that's kind of hard too. When we did Nightmare on Elm Street 3, like I know that's an awesome movie.
See, I've seen
it so many times. And it was hard. I was like, I was bored with it because I've seen it so many times, so I didn't know what to rate it. Like, I watched it for the first time. Yeah.
So I would sit at I'm sitting at like a 50-55 right now. Okay. Because I know this is like a decent movie. It's not terrible. I think I've just seen it too many times, and there's other movies in the series that I like better.
Sorry, maybe I should bump mine up to 50%.
Cool, Viewers, man. Wow. What the hell do we rate this movie?
No one knows. All right, so that's going to end our first movie in halfway to October Scarefest. Join us for next episode.
Here you go. Oh. Matt's got a bone-chilling fact.
Okay, so my wife was overhearing us in the other room, and while we were talking about what to call it this year, and it's halfway to October, right? So she said you should just call it H2O, halfway to October.
Right there. Okay, I dig it.
Yeah, I know, and I was like, wow, that's super like clever, but we're just gonna do halfway to Scarefest.
Halfway to Halloween Scarefest, October Scarefest.
Scarefest. It should be called Cinema Cult H2O, Halloween H2O. So I think that would I dig the H2O.
Yeah, we'll make the name as confusing as this entire franchise.
Right. Yeah. So we got a couple more movies left for this. We have a listener request. We have one that's gonna come out on this very specific day. So that kind of puts our next movie at the Joshua Jackson classic Urban Legend.
Is this another Kevin Williamson joint?
No, it is not. This is a like a Roger Corman version of a Kevin Williamson movie.
Okay, it's just.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I really like
the Folkley. It's a fake version of a horror movie.
It is. Yeah.
I like Kevin Williamson's like writing style a lot, but it's a shame because like I feel like everything that comes out in this like 5 or 6 year arc between horror, like related to horror stuff.
Yeah.
It probably gets so confused with like, oh, did Kevin Williamson write that?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like it's all the same kind of teenagers and the same kind of story. So it's like his whole 100%. Filmography probably gets mixed up with everybody else's.
Oh, I believe it. So join us for that. I'm actually really excited about the talk. I'm very excited to talk about this one because it's been a while since I've seen this.
Yeah, it's been quite some time since I've seen this movie.
So join us if you have any requests or you have any recommendations or you just want to say hi. Hit us up. You can hit us up on Facebook or you can email us at
cinemacultpodcast@gmail.com.
And thank you so much for listening. We love doing this. We hope you love listening to it. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we'll see you next time.